just a disclaimer, guys, if I sound sick or weird at some point, it's because I'm just recovering, from being a bit sick. But yeah, and I'm also going to keep looking because my rankings on here, so if I keep going like that or looking at this, that's why. Alright, so at number 16 we have Jokerface. Overall, while this is at the bottom, this album is not serious at all. I'm in it as well. This thing was made in I think it was made in something like an hour, maybe less, I don't know. Well, we kind of just, I did a voiceover over Instagram and he just added on it. Really funny album, but not a serious album. Like, production value is pretty decent, the beats are really good, but there's no serious meaning behind the lyrics or anything. It's just a joke about an old post that Judas used to have up of him doing a face. It's like just posing, and he does the album cover photo, and it's like it was cringe, but it was epic. It was epic, so we had to make an album out of it. Not super serious, but 5 out of 10. It's really funny, but nothing real. And then number 15, we have another album, which is just a joke album. You don't take it that seriously, but this one has probably a little bit better production value because it flows together as just one long album. Like, each song flows together perfectly, there's no stopping, it just keeps going, so it's like one long meme song. And it's a little funnier than Jokerface, has a few more features. It's also with my other persona, JE, it's like a little mixture of that as well. It's a collaborative album, that's what I meant to say. So 6 out of 10 for Warballs. Alright, number 14, we're getting into the serious stuff. Well, like his real albums, what he does, which is not joking about. And we got Try Hearted. Now, Try Hearted is his first ever album. He made a reworked version, which is better. But this first album, I think he made it on an editing program. I don't even think I remember him saying that for some of it he used like a salt shaker to make some shaking sounds, and it was pretty good for just not having a proper music program to use. It was pretty decent. And even to this day, he doesn't have no professional software. He just does what he can with, I'm not going to say the name of the program in case it's like embarrassing or he doesn't want you guys to know what he uses, but he uses a program which isn't a professional program, I could just say that, and he can still make it sound really good. And I'm not judging that program. That's a pretty decent program for the price tag it's got. Anyway, but Try Hearted, honestly, it's not the best, but it's also not terrible, because it's his first album. Everybody starts from something. You gotta, try to start from somewhere, and you can tell, like, he's trying to find his way, being very experimental, and he did pretty decent from what he has. I'm gonna give Try Hearted like a 5 out of 10 overall. Not too memorable, but not one I would go back to all the time, but it's also not one that I completely despise or anything. I don't think he really has any of those albums. Last year, all those tracks I gave like 4 out of 10s to, they're all deleted, they're all gone. So, Try Hearted, 5 out of 10. Okay, and then at number 13, we have The Other World. Now, The Other World, I used to hype the shit out of this, but in reality, I reckon it's decent, but it's a little better than Try Hearted, just because of the production value. But, overall, The Other World got some really cool songs in here that would work really well in movies. I really like the instrumental tracks. But this album isn't really a fun album to sit through and listen to the whole thing. Like, if I'm going to go, alright, I need something to jam to, let's get some pumper tunes from Insubordinate Brian, I would not put on The Other World. But if I wanted to maybe put some scary music on a clip, I wanted to make one of my clips and use a song which I have the rights to if I ask him and credit him, I've got The Other World, which has a lot of banging tracks for, scenes in movies. There's a lot of stuff that could work in certain things, but just listening to it on its own without any context, without anything, it's not the best. But, it's still a decent album though. It's like 6 out of 10, still a good album. And then at what number are we up to now? So at number 12, we have Broken/Blinded. Last year, I don't know, but I think I might have said this album's a lot better than what I think it is now. I used to I don't know, I'm being a lot more honest now. I don't want to be like, nothing's below 7, because I want people to know my honest opinion, and I know you're watching this, dude. So yeah. So Broken Slash Blinded, it's a pretty decent album. Like it doesn't it's got more listenable. I don't even know how. It's more listenable. Yeah, it's more enjoyable than the other world to just sit down and listen to. Like sometimes when I re-listened to this, I actually, it was a lot funner than the one I had before because I was like actually like listening there with good system, and I was like, yeah, this is not the best compared to his new ones, but it's also probably the best out of his early work. Yeah, Broken Slash Blinded, like it's like a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry I'm giving so much 6 out of 10s and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't really hold up to when I listen to it, because when I first listened to it, I remember going, oh my god, but that's mainly because he's just gotten better as he's gone on. It hasn't necessarily gotten worse in my head, but I think at the time I was like, this is probably the best he's ever made, and then when it came out, but now he's made so much better, so it just doesn't stand out as much as his other albums. But I'm glad he didn't delete this because it's actually one of his good older albums. So yeah, I'm gonna give that album like a 6 out of 10 overall. And then number 12 we have Love, the one it was like the little Asian Japanese symbol, whatever, in the album cover. Pretty cool album cover. Most of these have pretty cool album covers, pretty funny ones for Warballs and Jokerface. But Love, yeah. Love, I know, another 6 out of 10. I'm just gonna say off the bat so you guys don't get pissed. Alright, I'm sorry. But yeah, Love overall, great little listen. It's probably the perfect time for what this album is. Like, you don't really get bored listening to this. It's just probably one of his funnest albums from that era that comes out. It was kind of similar to old albums, but also he kind of tried to do some new stuff. This just feels like this has a higher production value. I don't know why, but it just feels better, like better production value and better than that. It's really enjoyable. But this is kind of the opposite of the other world. This has really good like production value and really good listening, but I don't see what this could be used in. So like the other world, I can't listen to it, but I know so much things I could use that songs in. But I don't know what I could do. Maybe I need to re-listen to this. I think I could use some for like intro and outro credits, but there's no real like songs that would suit movies. But that's not what I'm ranking it on. I need to stop saying this. I know I'm yelling at myself, but because that's not a real criteria. I'm just saying my opinion. If you were to, because people, like music videos, I couldn't imagine any of these in a music video or a movie, but I could for many other albums. But this album also isn't bad. None of these albums are bad, so I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm going on with it. Alright, and then at number 11 we have Serpentine. This album, pretty decent. I don't want to get into this too much because this is probably the album I've listened to the least, so I had the least to say about Serpentine. It used to be called XL or XV. It used to be called XV. But yeah, it got renamed, and it's really hard to listen to now because it's through a different account. Like I went onto it and it's like a different Insubordinate Brian, but it is him. It's like generated some random account. I don't know what's happened there, but when I went onto it, it was like, this Insubordinate Brian has one album and it's just that. I don't know. It's got some good tracks in it, some ones that we used in Kev Strikes Back. A little more enjoyable. It's probably more enjoyable than Love. A lot of clips could suit it. This is probably like the highest 6. This is like towards a 7 kind of 6 for Serpentine. So that's Serpentine. I give it like a 6, probably like a 6.5 out of 10. Alright, and then at number 10, we have Love and Happiness. I don't know if this is a sequel to Love or just a similar album cover and a similar name, but yeah, Love and Happiness, it's a huge improvement in his music career and over Love in general. A lot more impressive songs for me. I really enjoyed a lot of these songs. Kind of reminded me of Love, but improved on Love, if that makes any sense, but it's also a little different sometimes. I'm not reading off a script, guys, I'm just making sure this doesn't go off, but Love and Happiness, It's a 7 out of 10 album. This is the first 7 out of 10 album in this ranking right here. It's like a mid-tier 7. Like, it's a pretty decent, like, it's not right on the bar scale. It's like a mid-tier 7, like a 7.5. Yeah, it's just a really enjoyable album, and it has some songs that obviously work great in movies, like C, and yeah. And then we're going to go straight to number, what are we going to go to? Let's go to number 9, right? We're at number 9 next. Judas Isocrat. Disc 1, sorry. This album, yeah, it's a really great album to listen to. I just listened to this before, and this probably, out of any album, this is probably an album I could just chuck on and just vibe to out of one of the most. Even though it's not like a very vibey, but it is also very vibey. I don't know how to explain these albums. It's like, you got to be in the mood to vibe with it. You know, you got to be in the mood to vibe with the vibe. But great little album. Probably it's the perfect length for what this album is. It's kind of hard for me to remember because whenever I listen to this album, I don't go through individual tracks, so I can't just listen to it all as one, like I do with all his albums. But I don't know why, but this album the most is probably the one where I like a lot, but it's also the one where I probably remember the least names. Oh no, actually, probably Try Hearted, because I don't really know many Try Hearted songs, to be honest. But yeah, that's Judas Isocrat, this one. And then we have at number 8, we have Jed Webb Reborn. This album, oh yeah, if I didn't say Judas Isocrat 8 out of 10, I probably said that already, but you know, gotta make sure. Okay, and then we have Jed Webb Reborn at number 8. This was probably the album where I was like, alright, he's getting better, because I remember listening to this and going, this is a huge improvement over his last album, things are getting better, great album cover, production value seems like it's increased a little bit, like, or it's not even the value of the production, it's just like skill level of the producer, who is him. So the producing skills are a lot better in this album, a lot more improvement within the album overall. And yeah, so that is Jed Webb Reborn. And then at number 7, we have Pixie Dust. I don't remember the full name of it. It was like Pixie Dust something else. Hold up, guys. Pixie Dust and White Noise. There we go. So you have Pixie Dust and White Noise. 8 out of 10. This album is it's really great. It's really great. All the songs kind of have a distinct style. They all kind of match together in a way, but they don't sync together. They're kind of like similar songs. I don't know, I really like the album cover for this. I don't really have too much to say, except it's just a great album overall. Alright. And at number 7, we have If I Said I Was Okay, Would You Believe Me? Great album. This has some really great mixing. This is like a late tier 8. Like, this is like an 8.9. Like, this is like an 8.8. Yeah, just some really cool tracks. I remember listening to it, and I was listening to it today, like, oh, will this stand up? And I was like, hey, it's standing up pretty decent. At one point I thought this was my favourite. It's not my favourite anymore, but it's up there with some of my favourite tracks. It's pretty cool how he used some real drumming of me and just mixed it in there. That was pretty cool that I did. I didn't even like it, and he's like, alright, I'll use it. And then I was like, alright, I'll use it, give it back. Because I realised it actually sounded decent. Because I didn't know what the recording sounded like, because he had it on his phone, so I was like, I don't know. But, yeah. And then, that's like an 8 out of 10. And then at number 5, we have Raindrops in the Served Garden. This album, when I listened to it, I thought it was my favourite Insubordinate Brian album. Now I think it's in my top 5, but it's not my favourite. You know, this is just a great Insubordinate Brian album. This is like a high 8. This album overall, it was just... When I listened to it, I wasn't expecting anything crazy. Because I don't know why, but I think I'd heard some song and gone, oh, that's not the best. And then listened to it again and gone, wait, what the hell, that's the best track of the album. That was weird. I don't know what happened there, but you know when you listen to a song and you just really like, why did I just skim through that? I need to go back and really listen to that. Because when this came out, it was like around when Kev Strikes Back was being produced, so it's being made, so I didn't really listen to it or think about listening to albums at the time. I was just focusing on that movie, and then when I was editing it, I was like, hold up, we need to find some songs that match it. I was filming my own scenes, adding my own scenes to make the film a bit longer, and like some self-directed scenes, and I found it there, and I was like, alright, there's some cool tracks in here. There was some cool tracks in here. And yeah, it was just great. But yeah, that is Raindrops and Severe Garden. And then at number 4, we have JKE Thursday Afternoon. This album is like a 9 out of 10. This album gets up there with a 9. This is like a mid-tier 9. This album it's sick, man. It's sick. I just had a real enjoyable time listening to this. I love the way it sounds on my speakers. Probably one of the best sounding albums, and has some of the best sounding songs. Vocal mixing was really great in this. It's just overall like a 9 out of 10. It's a, what do you say? 8 is great, 10 is perfect, so 9 is grind. 9 is grind, guys. 9 is grind. Alright, and then at number 3 we have LSD. Didn't mean that to rhyme, but it did. LSD, man, this is also very enjoyable listening. I remember I was like, at the time, I didn't really want to listen to it now and then. I was kind of in the middle of something. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just listen to it. And then I was like, actually got really synced, and then really forgot what I was doing. Like, you know, when you get hooked on something, you forget what you're doing in the first place. Yeah, and then it took me like a while to remember, oh yeah, I gotta go do that. It was pretty funny, but yeah, I was glad I went out of the time to listen to it, because I was like, fuck it, let's listen to it, let's get it out of the way. I don't know, I was just being weird because I was in a rush. And I was like, why, like, why was I complaining? This album's epic. Alright, that's a 9 out of 10. And then at number 2, we have Shinyoo, his newest album. Yeah, I know, this isn't at number 1. Sorry, but this is like a 9 out of 10 album. Like a high 9 album. This was really great. I love how he remixed some Deep Lie songs and stuff like that. This, or Severe Garden, was going to be my number 1, but yeah, it wasn't. It's just a great album. I love it. I love the mixing of... Actually, I'm not going to spoil it. Listen to it. I was about to say something that's like the best part of this album, but just go listen to it. Alright, and then at number 1, we have Instill of the Night. This is a 10 out of 10 album. I was not expecting to have this at 1. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. I don't know if it's going to hold up, because he's made some pretty good stuff. And then I listened to it again. I was like, this does hold up. This is his best album. It's a 10 out of 10 album. Like this, there's no high tier or mid tiers and 10s. 10's just perfect. So this is just his best album. And that's my ranking of all Insubordinate Brian albums. Sorry if I didn't say too much. If you want me to go more in depth, I can. If you want me to talk more about a specific song or album by the artist, comment below. And peace out. Subscribe to the channel. Sweat. Wake up,